That's the cake. In today's video we're going to talk about how to bake a cake, and we're gonna use an electric whisk this time. You can also do this with a hand whisk. Let's whisk again. It's a chocolate cake. Today I want to show you a beginner-friendly tutorial how to bake a cake, a chocolate cake. A very nice recipe from my ancestors, probably from my mom, but it needs a bowl and it needs an electric whisk or even a normal whisk, and the ingredients are all over the place. So no worries, I'll put everything in the description. I will also explain it to you what I'm doing. Here you can see all our ingredients. We're using butter, we're using sugar, castor sugar, we're using vanilla sugar, we're using 4 eggs, we're having cinnamon and cacao, we do have chocolate crumbles, we're using oat milk, and we're using baking powder. And of course we'll have some flour as well. We'll use a loaf pan, in our case a non-sticky one, something like this one. I'll put the link below so you know the size what I'm using here. For the cake itself we'll need an electric whisk. You can also do it in your kitchen machine if you want to, or Thermomix. You could even take a hand whisk. We'll also need a bowl and a scale. We'll start with the scale. We need 200 grams of butter. I'm using margarine if you haven't noticed it yet. I used to bake this cake with butter, so next we'll need 200 grams of castor sugar. If I have not mentioned it yet, the butter should be room temperature. It's easier just to whisk it. Next we'll need the package of vanilla sugar. We'll use the whole package. Followed by 4 eggs. Those are the first ingredients. Now we'll start to whisk it. I start already to see a couple bubbles. That's perfect. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of cacao, 150 grams of chocolate crumbles. Also, there's a link below. Here we are. And now we want to mix everything together. So I'm taking it off the scale, mixing everything together. You could have used the electric whisk if you want to. I like to use this hand silicone tool. What is it called? It just doesn't destroy chocolate crumbles because they should stay like that. They shouldn't be frying that. That's important because they will melt later in the oven. And now we need to add 125 grams of oat milk. You can use normal milk if you want to. What my mom always did was adding 125 grams of red wine, because this chocolate cake, it has its original roots as a red wine cake, but it works great with any kind of milk. That's what we're doing now, and mixing it again. And no worries that it gets more liquidy. That's not supposed to be. And there we go. So next we'll use 250 grams of flour. I'm using all-purpose flour, and it's better to not pour in all at once. Just mix it up a little bit when you pour in half of it. And now I'm adding another 100 grams until we have in total 250 grams. Almost. And mixing by hand in again. Very gently, no rush. We want to add also baking powder. It's about 3 teaspoons. Mixing in. You can combine flour and baking powder together. The color is great. I like it how it looks like. It's amazing. And it's pretty much done. Let's take our loaf pan. Let's add some butter or margarine to it. And let's just spread it out so later it doesn't stick to it too much. You want to get the dough out later very easily. That's it. And now we can fill all the dough into the pan. Now with the dough ready in the pan, I want to put it in the oven, and don't preheat it, but now you can turn it to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and put it in the middle of the oven. After 50 minutes, let's check how the cake looks like. Let's do the needle test, which is sticking in and seeing if there's any liquids, anything sticking to the needle, and there's not. There's not. It looks good. Great, we'll keep it outside. Turn off the oven. We have to let it cool for a couple minutes before we can take it completely out on the cooling rack. go from there. So in case you're also not as patient as I am, it's only 30 minutes gone and we'll try to get this bad boy out. Let's make sure that it's not sticking to the sides. Try it with a sharp knife or your knife and it's not sticking to the side. To get it out of the pan, I usually recommend taking this cooling rack on top and then just turning it around so it can fall out, which means like this. And there we are. Turn it around without cracking it. Awesome. Awesome, look at this. That was great, that worked really well. And it looks delicious and it also smells delicious. I feel like I want to eat it now. Oh man, look how amazing this looks. We'll use some icing sugar and make it pretty now. That's our cake. Here we are. Here we are. That's the cake. With this one you can really get some plus points, I'm pretty sure. Friends, family, mother-in-law. You can show off with that. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. Thanks for watching. Cheers! It's a chocolate cake. Depending on when you put a red wine in it, it's a red wine cake, but let's just stick with the chocolate cake because everyone likes chocolate cakes.
Will you whisk my muffins?